Hi, everyone. Welcome to Less of Me Success Stories. I'm your host, Robyn Dobbins, and my co host, Scott King, is running the chat tonight. Hey, Scott.
Hey there, everybody. Thank you for joining in and watching. We just want to let you know that we just want to let you know that we know what it's like to be helpless and hopeless, and we just want to let you know that your story's not over. You can rewrite your story at any time. We provide a platform here where people can share stories of how they reclaim their life with dietary intervention and with hopes of encouraging you to do the same in your lives as well.
As a reminder, neither us nor our guests are medical professionals. We are not offering any medical advice. Please consult with your medical team before attempting any interventions. Also, before we get into introducing our guests, please like and share our stream on your socials so that we can get as many guests as possible joining us. We have a great guest tonight, and I think there will be a lot of questions and that he'll be able to answer. So please share us on all your socials. Just take a second to do that. And while you're sharing us, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. When my dad was the guest on the episode 6B, I called him my success story. Today's guest is my success partner. Without him, I never would have learned about Vinnie Tortorich's No Sugars, No Grains, or how to use low-carb diets to heal. While I found great success fairly quickly, I've watched our guests succeed and fail over and over again. I have felt great joy and pride, and also great defeat and helplessness during his journey. Each setback has been a learning experience, and I'm happy to say I think he finally has it locked down. Now, I introduce to you our guest, my husband, Matt Dobbins. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, how is everybody doing?
Oh, great. So happy to have you here. I always tell everybody you have a great story and you never share it with anyone. So I'm very thankful that you agreed to share your story today.
Yeah, of course. Again, I tend to shy away from telling my story because I don't know. I don't think it's all that great, but we'll see what everybody thinks after we get done today.
I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy it. So please, this is how we do things here. We just throw it to our guest. We want you to just share your story. And as we get going, I'm sure the people who are joining us will have questions. Scott and I will have questions. So the floor is yours.
All right. Well, let's see. I started out. Well, we'll start from the beginning. Growing up, I guess I would say I was always the pudgy kid. I don't know necessarily that I was obese, but I grew up wearing husky jeans and things like that. Like, yeah, I didn't have the normal size that every other kid had when I was growing up. By today's standards, I would have probably been considered athletic. But at that time, growing up, I had extra weight. I was chunky. Um, by the time I got into high school, started playing sports more regularly, I thinned out a little bit, and I wasn't so heavy. I when I left and got into college, I didn't put on the initial college 15 or freshman 15, like they say. I worked out, I ran a lot, and then it wasn't until towards the end of my college career that I got a little bit more weight on me because I stopped working out and stopped running and started drinking beer and things like that a little bit more and enjoying the last year of my college career, probably too much. Uh, Moved up to Maryland. That's when I met Robyn, and again, I probably wasn't obese, but did have a little bit of extra weight on me. I think the time that I actually started tacking on the weight was after Robyn and I had gotten married, and after the birth of our second child. I was That's around the time that I started working on the road while she was pregnant, and that's when you're staying in hotel rooms, you're eating McDonald's a lot. I've downed, countless pizzas by myself. And I think that's when the weight really went on heavily at that time. And I tried everything. I tried everything from Weight Watchers to going to Weight Watchers meetings. I was on the Nutrisystem for a little bit, and nothing that ever really worked. I did everything from fad diets to starving myself, and that never worked. I think it was probably in 2000, I want to say 2016 is when I stepped on the scales and saw that I was 310 pounds. And that was the highest I ever saw. I could have been more at the time. I don't know. But that's about the time that I said I got to do something different. And so I decided to purchase P90X. So whatever, what every obese person should be doing is getting the latest workout CDs and going into the garage, putting these CDs in, running your ass off for an hour, and about killing yourself is really what it was. I don't know how I survived. There was many times that I was on the treadmill, or I was trying to pull myself up doing pull-ups and things like that. It just wasn't advisable, and I probably should have had a heart attack while I was doing it because I was so heavy. I guess the good thing about it is that I lost like 20 pounds doing it. And, but like anything like that, it's so hard when you're that big that you just quit. You can't do it anymore. And you got body aches, your joints are killing you, and it's too much on your body. So I stopped doing that. It wasn't short. It was shortly after that, when I was listening to Adam Carolla, and that's when I heard Vinnie Tortorich, and it was way back in the day. I think it was like one of Vinnie's first episodes on Adam Carolla, and he started talking about no sugars, no grains, and it was like he was talking to me because I used to have to drive a long distance to get to the territory that I covered when I was working. And he was telling the story about a guy named Matt that was a truck driver, and the guy had a bag of chips up on his dashboard that he would eat as he was driving. And I was thinking about it. I was like, my God, that's me. I'm going to fast food restaurants, putting the carton of French fries up on the dashboard, or having the large drink next to me, extra large drink next to me, drinking that while I'm eating fries as I'm driving down the road to my next stop. And listening to it, I was like, all right, well, this is the next thing where I can start something and just go ahead and put money into, because everybody's looking to make money off of their weight loss systems. And I guess I'll just give it a shot. And if I got to pay something, I got to pay for something. What really locked me in was that Vinnie wasn't looking for money. Vinnie was giving the roadmap to losing weight, to really taking your life back. So I got bought in right away. I started doing it. Robyn didn't. Robyn was like, dug her heels in, was being the stubborn Italian that she is, and said, I still want my pasta. I still want all this good stuff. I'm not doing it. So, I mean, she's told her story, so how she got to it. Eventually, she came on board, and we started doing that. Did great. I went down from, at that time, I was like 280, and I lost roughly about 30, 40 pounds. So that got me down to 240. And I think I would always drop in that time frame. I would always drop down to like 235, 240. And then the next year, I'm bouncing back up to 260. And I'm always riding this roller coaster. And how am I going to get off this roller coaster? What it was, I needed to find the trigger. So Um, I would always get to this point right around, and it's probably the same for everybody. Thanksgiving. You know, you're around everybody, you're around your family and all that. And pie was my thing. I will down a pie. I will you name it, blueberry, cherry pie, pumpkin pie, whatever it is, cheesecake, all that stuff. You put it out for Thanksgiving, and I'm taking a slice of everything and then going back for seconds. And Thanksgiving would put me off the rails. So from Thanksgiving all the way through New Year's, I'm just hitting sweets the whole time. So I do all this work to get down to probably about 230, 235. And then by January, I'm back up to 250 or 260. Uh, what really kind of kicked me into gear was in 2022. I think it was 22. Um, I started my first, I started doing jujitsu, and I did a tournament in 2002. It was quite funny. I went to my professor and I told him, "Hey, I want to do my first tournament. I want to work out and I want to test my skills against other people." And he said, "Awesome, fantastic. We need to get your weight down and we need to get you in a lower class because at that time I was about 250 pounds and I was going to end up having to go against gargantuan dudes. I mean, guys from anywhere from the range of 220 pounds, 21 pounds, all the way up to 300 pounds. Now, there was no weight limit after that. So uh, I looked at him. I said, okay, well, I think I can get my weight down to 230. He said, no, no, no. We're getting you down. We're getting you down to at least under 220. I said, all right, well, we'll see how that goes. That's not, the tournament was in October and we were talking about this in June. And I'm like, man, okay. I gotta take off about uh 30 to 40 pounds. So how am I going to do this? Well, I had to get structured. I had to get consistent and dedicated again, right? So I'm already motivated. Now I got to pick up the consistency and the dedication to do this. And that's around the time that I had just read Robert Sykes's Keto Bodybuilding. And um I I looked at it and looked at how to cut weight using the ketogenic diet with him, and it was phenomenal. Just starting the program and really diving in and learning some of the things that I didn't know, and I think a lot of people that are in a diet mentality don't know about calories and things like that. I read about it and I was like, oh my goodness, let me dive into this and let me get started on the program. And sure enough, while I was following it, the weight was just coming off. It was coming off quickly too. It wasn't like in small increments. I was losing 3 to 4 pounds a week at times. And now it would plateau for another week. Maybe you only lose half a pound, but on average, I'm losing probably about 8 pounds a month. So that's 2 pounds a week. And I got very close to the tournament. I think it was like in September. And I still had some weight that I needed to get off before the tournament. And so I started to panic. So I tried to game the system a little bit. And if anybody knows anything about your body and trying to game the system through really going into a heavy deficit, caloric deficit, or trying to do a long fast or something like that, your body's going to realize that you're doing something wrong and it's going to stop you. So once I realized that and kind of went back to what I was supposed to be doing on Robert's program, the weight came off. So got to my tournament. I weighed in. I was supposed to be under 220 and I weighed in at 216. So that was like the biggest. I haven't seen that weight in, man, like 15, 16 years. It was amazing. I was just I was in tears. I literally walked up to Robyn, held up my weight card and showed her what I weighed in, and I was crying because I never thought it was possible to do it. And once I saw that, I thought, hey, the sky's the limit, right? Well, uh, you know, life's what gets in the way when you're having fun, and I got injured during the tournament. So pulled my groin, and so I had to stop jujitsu after the tournament for a little bit, and I stopped working out as I should. And of course, things started to creep in. And when I say things, I am 100% a sugar addict. I am I can't control myself when I start to get it. So I'm a binge eater. So I know that about myself, and so I have to control that. And I wasn't controlling it sorry, I wasn't controlling that after the tournament. Uh, and I don't blame this person at all, but the young lady that sits next to me at work, she's got a candy jar, and it's got all my favorite chocolates in it, man. It's got Snickers, and it's got Twix and Kit Kats and stuff. And I was binging on her candy bowl at work. I'm walking by and I'm grabbing a handful, going to my desk, and I'm just shoveling candy in my mouth. So the thing about it is the weight started coming back on, and I went back from 216 and ballooned up to 240 again. So one of the eye openers for me was this last year. Um, I signed up for another jiu-jitsu tournament, and I was trying to cut weight again, and it didn't work. It didn't come off the way I thought it was going to come off. I was about 240 pounds, and I was trying to get down to 220 again. And that's 20 pounds. Hell, I had just done 30, 40 pounds the year before. Thought, hey, no big deal. I can do that. And it didn't happen this time. I got close to the tournament and realized nobody was in my age group, and nobody was in the weight class I had signed up for. So I had to register for a higher weight class and a lower age group. So I was going up against 30-year-olds that had 15 pounds on me. And I thought, okay, well, I don't have to cut weight now. I can keep my weight where it's at, which was roughly about 228, 225, somewhere around there. But what did I continue to do? I continued to eat candy and stuff, and not take care of myself, not even try to cut the rest of the weight. So I lost that tournament. In fact, I got my ass kicked. And it was kind of an eye opener for me. So I got back, and that was in October of 23 of last year. And I took a look at myself, and I was disgusted. I was in a bad spot. I was angry. It was a bad moment for me. You know, I looked at a lot of the successes that other people had, and I got mad at myself because I know I can do that. I know I'm capable of it, and I didn't do it. And so I started thinking back to, why am I doing this? Why am I trying to lose this weight? What's my motivator? And that's just it. Anybody that's on this call or that is going to watch this video over again, we all have had struggles. We've all had problems losing weight, or we've all been obese, or we've all just had an issue with weight, with food. We're all motivated to lose weight, and we don't need a motivator. We see ourselves every day and the failures that we've had and the way where we've been. So there's nothing else to motivate you. You're already motivated to do it. Where I was struggling is that I wasn't taking that motivation and turning it into consistency and discipline. And that's where I had to change my frame of mind. I can't do this for Robyn and my kids anymore. I've got to start doing it for myself, because when I travel for work, Robyn and the kids are not there to knock the food out of my hands. They're not the ones that are going to keep me accountable. I am. So when I was messing up, and you get honest with people online and stuff, and they start saying, "Oh, give yourself some grace. You were under a lot of stress. You know, don't worry about it. Tomorrow's a new day." Da 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 da. I can't do that, because if I start giving myself grace, I'm just going to continue to go down that spiral of just eating crap. So I had to get hard on myself, not give myself the grace to mess up. I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, "Dude, you screwed up. You are terrible. You're not good right now. Don't give yourself grace. It's not okay. It's not okay to have this wonderful person that you live with do everything that she's doing, go through the hell that she went through, and you not do the same thing. You need to man up and you need to do right." And that's what I did. I'm not motivated anymore. I'm consistent and I'm disciplined in what I do. I get up every day, or every Monday through Friday. I get up at 4:30 in the morning and I go to the gym and I work out. I work out every single day. If I'm not working out on Wednesday, I have jujitsu that night, so I'm getting my night workout. I'm working out at least 5 days a week, if not six. And it's that consistency that I've got to have, because motivation will go away. Motivation will wane. You will not have it some days. You will wake up in the morning and say, "I'm not motivated to do squat." But it's that discipline and consistency that you have built over time that's going to get you up out of bed. So after I changed my viewpoint on it and kind of got that mentality, I started doing Robert Sykes' program again. And just a little disclaimer, he's starting a program, and I'm on the beta program with him. So I'm doing. He's got some videos and stuff that he's getting ready to release, and I'm in the beta group. So there's a lot of things that after reading his book, I was doing wrong, but it was working. But now I'm looking at it like, wow, that was wrong, but this is now dialing me in. And it is phenomenal. I'm stood on the scale this morning, and I'm 207, so I'm almost at my college weight. I'm less than I was when I had my first jiu-jitsu tournament. I'm almost gonna break that 200 mark that I thought was never gonna happen. And really, it is because it's not because, and I hope she doesn't take it bad. It's not because of Robyn. It's not because of my kids. It's because of me. It's because I took a look at myself. I was mad at myself. I was disgusted with the way I was looking. I was disgusted at my behavior. And I manned up and said, I need to make a change in my life. And that's really what it's all about. Because you can be motivated to do anything, but are you going to stay consistent with it? And that's kind of where we're at now. Since November of last year, I've lost over 35 pounds. And I told Robyn the other day, I was like, I'm not going back. It's just not worth it. The other day I was in the office and I walked by a bowl of candy and I was like, damn, there's some Reese's in there. I could dog on that. And then the other part of me was like, nope, you can't do it, dude, because you know what'll happen. And so that's really where I'm at now. So that's my story.
I think that you brought up some very important things. One of them being this final thing that you're talking about, which I think is really addressing an addiction that you had to the sweets. And I'm learning a lot about addictions right now. So the way you handled it is one of the ways that people handle these addictions. And that's, you have to tell yourself, you have to set it up every single morning. This is how I'm going to set up my day and plan my day. And, if should I come across a bowl of candy, this is how I'm going to deal with it. And it sounds like you're doing that. But I want to go back because you in your soliloquy here have gone through quite a bit, and since I know you skipped over some things. So I want to go back all the way to the first time that you realized there was an issue after you had already proclaimed being NSNG, which again we'll repeat is Vinnie Tortorich's trademark NSNG, no sugars, no grain. But you were traveling, and so you were making some maybe not so NSNG low carb decisions while you're on the road. But then 2020 happened, and if I recall, you had what a lot of people have, which is I will do this one thing X whenever I am at this one place. And yours was, I will eat chips if I am in a restaurant. So then 2020 happens, and I think you know where I'm going. So why don't you go from there? What happened in 2020 that started you off?
What happened in 2020?
Yeah, when we were locked down.
Oh, that's when we saw Sean Baker. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So.
Well, yes and no. We were locked down, and you could no longer get chips. And I think you came to a realization at that time too about what that was doing.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that was setting me off on the wrong side of the fence. I mean, I work at a restaurant or for a restaurant company, and that's, I'm low carb or keto, or I'm NSNG, or I'm carnivore or whatever. But you know what? Those chips and salsa just hit just right. And that was that was a big thing for me, is that I always ate the chips. But yeah, being in the lockdown and not being able to get some of that stuff, we did start to realize that was a trigger for me. But that's also the time when we saw Sean Baker for the first time on I think it was Vinnie's. Actually, it was Vinnie's NSNG summit, and that was the first time we saw Sean Baker on video and talking about the carnivore diet. And really, that's kind of kicked off my carnivore kick. And I'm actually, I would say, since 2020, other than the candy bars and the little cheats that I did in between, I would say I'm probably about 95% carnivore, if not more. I mean, we have onions and stuff every once in a while, but that's about it.
Yeah. And this will probably set you off, but I believe that there's a range of diets that are worthwhile to people, and that can just be as simple as a low carb, high fat, where you're not counting any, you're not reducing it so low that you're in ketosis, but you're low carb, high fat, to these salt only carnivores, and everything in between is okay. We seem to have a lot of bickering amongst ourselves about what's the right way to go, and it really is individual. And I would say that you're a carnivore, and you use onion every once in a while to season your meat. But somebody else is going to come in and say you're doing it wrong, and I don't want to set all that off, but we got to stop with this infighting, everybody. We need to be unified in seeking health for everyone.
Right.
Speaking of health, and I don't want to set you off because that's like a 2-hour tangent for you. Speaking of health, did you have any health problems that you knew of before you had started changing your diet?
Yeah, I mean, I did have acid reflux, and I did at one time. Well, I was a heavy smoker for a very long time. I smoked probably 2 packs a day on average. And one of the things that I thought was fantastic was the new age of vape and being able to vape and hopefully stop smoking cigarettes. And actually, that's why I started listening to Adam Carolla. I would have a 2-hour drive to get to the territory that I was at, and Adam, his podcast just really kind of took my mind off of smoking. So I would only smoke a couple in the car rather than half a pack in the car on the way to wherever I was going. So that helped me transition down. And then also I started vaping. But the thing about vape is I didn't have to go outside to smoke. So I was just going through juice like crazy. And one night we had some friends over, and I indulged quite a bit. But I was heavier at that time as well, but I indulged quite a bit. And I just had this bounding in my ear, like it was just like boom, 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 and it just would not stop. And I thought, oh, let me go to bed. It'll go away tomorrow. I'll be fine. I couldn't sleep. The next day I woke up, it was still going, and this is on Sunday. It's still going. And so a buddy of mine was over visiting us, and he said, do me a favor. If it's still doing this tomorrow, you're going to go to the doctor, right? I said, yeah, maybe. I'll go to the doctor. We'll see what it is. So I went to the doctor, and sure enough, long story short, there's a lot to this story, and it's quite funny, but there's a lot to the story. I'll keep it short. I was in supraventricular tachycardia. So basically my ventricle, my large ventricle was just going quivering. It was just quivering and not pumping. So the heart I was in cardiac arrest is basically the easiest way to say it. So the doctor freaked out and said, we need to send you to the hospital. And well, the hospital's right across the street. I said, okay, I'll go over there. He goes, how are you going to get there? I said, well, I can walk. It's right across the street. He said, no, you're not walking. He said to me, he goes, how'd you get here? I said, well, hell, I drove. What do you think? He said, you drove here. I said, yes. He goes, I'm calling an ambulance. I said, all right, doc, you do what you got to do. I swear to God, that is the fastest I've ever been seen at a hospital. They opened the doors, and there must have been 5 nurses waiting for me right there, coming in from the ER. And that, long story short, they put the AED pads on me, and I said, "Oh shit, just got real," and my heart went back into rhythm. Fine. So, they scared me back into the correct rhythm, and so, and I'll tell you this little thing. Have you ever never had AED pads on you? First of all, you'll shit your pants, and secondly, it really hurts taking those things off. If you've got hair on your chest, it's going to be gone. So I haven't had an episode since then, and I've always been a little concerned. Is that ever going to come back? But the martial arts that I do is very high intensity. I lift heavy, but I've never had an episode again since taking some of the weight off. So,
Matt, I got a question back to that because I don't recall ever hearing this. Why did this happen? Do you know that?
so the doctors did like a whole extensive tons of tests on me. I had a stress test. I had a ultrasound done. EKG. They did. I mean, tons of tests on me. And the doctor came in and said, "We don't know what caused it, honestly." And he said, "I mean, what we can do is we can do you can come to the hospital, stay in the hospital for an overnight, and we can send a catheter up your leg into your heart to see if you have any, a hole in your heart, or if there's any damage or something like that. anything that we need to catheterize or cauterize or anything like that. And I looked at him, I said, look, you just put me through a stress test, did an ultrasound, did all this stuff. You can't find out what's wrong with me. I promise you, if it ever happens again, I'll let you do it, but we're not going to go that route now. So that was 2018, in I think January or February of 2018. So it's been several years. Haven't had an issue since. So he's in South Carolina. So if it ever does happen again, I'm still not gonna let him go up my leg. I'll just tell the next cardiologist, hey, if it happens again, I'll let you do it. But that'll be the next cardiologist.
I think it's important to note that you have in fact quit smoking, you have in fact quit vaping, and you do eat very clean now. So
Now.
And perhaps that is helping you not have this issue anymore. But that was kind of a loaded question that I asked you, because the answer is if you don't go to the doctor and get checked out, you don't know if you have a problem. And that is the category that Matt falls in, which I want to bring up because I think there are a lot of people out there in that same category who are just kind of walking around saying, yeah, whatever, I'm fine. But you're not fine. You just don't, well, you may or may not be fine. You don't know the answer to that question. So that's why I asked that of you.
I got you. And next time prep me so I can answer it for you. But I think, you bring that up, and that's a great way to put it. Because when I was 310 pounds, I wasn't diabetic. And the only reason I can say
no.
Exactly. The only reason I can say that is because my doctor never took my blood to get it tested. So how the hell do I know, and how the hell does he know? So I know now I'm not diabetic, but I could have very well been diabetic. If I wasn't diabetic, I was at least pre-diabetic back in those days.
And you certainly had signs, like you had like the real hard calcifications on your feet, and you had some of the skin tag type things that were showing up. So the signs were there, but we didn't know what those signs were at the time.
Right.
And I see, Scott, that we do have some questions coming in, but I want to just say one more thing. You had talked about how right now your weight is lower than the weight that you were at your first competition. And we do have a side-by-side of Matt. And the thing is honestly, the difference in how he looks, when he did it the first time, he was cutting weight very well, but then he started, like he said, he was gaming the system, so he looks very gaunt. And then we have a picture of him at almost the exact same weight doing it correctly without gaming the system, and it's a completely different look. So I will make sure that I dig that picture out to share it with everyone, because it's pretty amazing to see the difference, and I get to see it, but I want to make sure everybody else also gets to see it. And then the last thing that I want to say, based on what you talked about before we go to questions, is you saying, I have to do it for myself. It has come up in more than one conversation on these talks that people feel selfish for taking their health in their own hands. So can you address that?
Sure. Damn right it's selfish, and good on you for being selfish. Good on you for taking care of yourself. Good on you for thinking of yourself when it comes to your health. Good on you for taking care of yourself, because the people you love are the ones that are going to reap the benefits of you being healthy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's selfish, and I don't care. How about that? That's the biggest part. You have got to be your number one, and it's okay to lean on people. It's okay to lean. It's okay to lean for me to lean on Robyn, and it's okay for her to lean on me. But you have got to be the person taking the charge and holding up taking the banner up for yourself, because nobody else is going to do it for you. You've got to do it. So damn right, be selfish.
I like it. That's awesome. So got a couple questions for you from Carolyn. She's asking, what does a typical day of eating look like for you?
So that's a great question. So I'm gonna dive back a little bit into Robert Sykes' program, right? The keto bodybuilding. Obviously, I'm not a bodybuilder. I used it to cut weight. But what I learned the most from reading his book and now watching the videos that I'm watching is that I wasn't eating enough food. I was starving my body, and with the activity that I was doing, with all the workouts and all of the martial arts that I was doing, the high intensity stuff, I wasn't giving myself the correct nutrition. And so what was happening is that my body was downgrading my metabolism because I wasn't giving it the right amount of food. So my weight wasn't moving either. Um, so right now, at my current weight, I'm eating probably uh, between 3,000 and 3,100 calories a day. Typically, I don't fast. I guess we'll call it intermittent fasting, but I just call it eating. I eat within an 8-hour window, and I'm fasting the other 16. So typically, I wake up in the morning and I'll have my coffee about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll have my coffee, relax for a little bit, and wake up. Then I'm off to the gym. I'm in the gym from probably about 6:30 till about 7. Well, no, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning till about 7:30, and then I'm up at my desk by 8 o'clock. I don't have my first meal until 11:30. So depending on the day, I might even touch about 12. And then I stop eating by 8 o'clock at night. Actually, lately it's been before that, long before that. It's been closer to 7 o'clock that I've stopped eating. So I keep myself within that window, and I'm eating about 3,000 calories a day. Typically, it's leftovers from lunches, leftovers from the day before, and I know a lot of people in this space they frown down on weighing your weight or weighing your food, and it's just eat while you can, eat what you want, eat till you're satiated. I have to measure my food, not only for this program, but it's for my own accountability, to make sure I'm eating enough, to make sure I'm getting the nutrition that I need. So I weigh my food. So I'm probably eating about 13 to 1,500 calories during a meal. So I generally eat 2 meals a day. I hope that answered the question.
I think it did. And what's funny is the three of us have had this conversation about me as well. And you have preached this to me, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And yes, you are absolutely right. There's something to this. It works. And, me doing my training as well, but being so hard-headed with following what I've always been taught.
Yeah, right.
And still know it's wrong, but you just still kind of
Right.
hold on to that for some stupid reason. But yeah, it's amazing what happens to your body when you fuel it properly.
Right.
It truly is. So I got another question. This is from Tim, and I apologize because this question could be for me also, because this question came through and it was also on a text we had earlier. So he asked, why did you cut out cheese, and what benefits did you have aside from losing weight?
No, he said, why did you cut the cheese? Let's just be clear on how he wrote
Oh,
that.
cut the.
Yeah.
I seriously
Who
read
cut
wrong.
the cheese?
My brain proofread it.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't have very much gas now that I don't have fiber in my system. So gas isn't a big problem. But as for cutting out the cheese, Robin and I decided, hey, that honestly, I was eating cheese like a fiend. Well, I'd get a pound of mozzarella and just go to town on that thing. It was an addiction. Honestly, it's an addiction. And since cutting out the cheese, that has really taken away a lot of my cravings for sugar and things of that nature. And I didn't realize that. But Robin read Dr. Georgia Ead's new book. I forget the name of it, but oh, she's holding it up. What was it? What was it?
Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind by Dr.
Okay.
Georgia Ead.
Okay, so there's a passage in there, and Dr. Ead has said that there's a potential for cheese to give you sugar cravings, which I don't know if that's true, but if you're going to do an N1 experiment, cut out your cheese and see where your sugar cravings are, because mine are gone. I don't have the desire to start dipping into candy and stuff since I've cut out all my dairy.
And to follow up with that, have you cut out all dairy or just specifically cheese?
I don't eat any dairy. Now, I say that, but we'll go to a restaurant and I'll get a burger, right? And if it comes with cheese on it, I go ahead and eat it. But I would actively go to the store, buy 2 or 3 pounds of cheese, and by the end of the week all of that was gone, and then I'm going back to the store to get more. So other than going to like a restaurant and having a burger with some cheese on it, I don't eat cheese at all. And it's just cheese. I don't have any dairy other than that. That was always, I didn't put cream in anything. If I have anything, I'll put butter in my coffee every once in a while, but that's about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we do eat butter, but that's it. There's no other dairy in our diets right now, and it's been an amazing change that I just don't want to embrace. but now I'm screaming to everyone that they should try cutting the cheese. And so I think that's where Tim got that question from, because I've been like, yeah, you should probably try it. So it's definitely been a big change, and it's no coincidence in my mind that we cut out dairy, and then you told me about eating the chocolate, and then that just like immediately stopped. And I mean, if all of us here, I think, have gotten rid of something that we absolutely love in this process of eating low carb, there's always that nagging sensation that you want to go back to it. So I really do think there's some sort of correlation there for you specifically, that once you cut that dairy out, it also helped you drop the candy as well. All right, Scott, are there any more?
I think there's some coming in, but I have one. This is like a personal question, I guess, I have for you, for myself. Both of you have gotten into lifting, and I admittedly am horrible with it. Not that I don't want to do it. I've just focused so much on cardio because that's kind of what I'm aiming towards. But I've had I've been fortunate enough to talk to Sean Baker before, and he pushed it on me as well. And Vinnie talks about it a lot. But what, aside from gaining strength, are there any other benefits that you have noticed, whether it be improving weight loss, improving health from lifting heavy, or anything like that?
I mean, I think I feel much better. I think that lifting heavy consistently, I feel so energized after I get done with a heavy workout, and it's just it's benefited the way I physically feel, and quite honestly, to be a little vain, I feel like I look better too. And I think that's part of it, right? That's kind of one of the things that we all strive for. We strive for health, right? But we also strive to lose that weight so we look better too, right? I mean, it's not there's a thin thread of vanity going through us that after we've lost that weight, we're like, wow, I feel better, I look better. Now what more can I do to amplify that? And I think lifting weights has done that for me. And I'll tell you right now, I can lift more now than I could in high school when I was playing football.
Man,
So
that's crazy.
yeah, and it's, I'll call it old man strength, but it is what it is. Um, so that, yeah, that's what I think about in the weightlifting part.
I got another question. This is from a lady you might know, Rose. Uh, she's she's asking, how do you mix up the meals, or do you eat basically the same thing every day? This also might be a question for Robyn.
um, we honestly, I mean, we're pretty much carnivore. So it's steak, eggs, chicken, and pork. There's one thing that we're doing quite a bit now. Um, that's really one of our favorite meals, and it's weird. Excuse me, we take a pound of Italian sausage and 3 pounds of ground beef, and we cook it all together, put bacon in it, maybe a little bit of onion, and then maybe a little bit of sauce. Like Robyn makes homemade marinara, and we'll just put a little bit of that in there. I do anyways, and mix it up. And I can eat that every single day. That can be every single meal for me, and I will be satiated and happy as a clam. Um, but yeah, I mean, the only thing that we really change up is what kind of red meat we're eating for the day, and every once in a while throwing in some chicken or maybe some pork.
Got it.
I
Got it.
want to add that I can eat that every single day. Our daughter can eat that every single day. She's
Right.
actually asking for it every single day. And that we put pluck seasoning in it. And if you haven't heard of pluck seasoning, it's an organ meat seasoning. So the one that we like to put in there is an Italian seasoning, but it's ground up organ meat with Italian seasoning in it in the meat. It's so good. I'm like, seriously, just like him. That's what I want every meal, every day, and that's what we eat every meal, every day. I think our next cow that we order, we're just going to ask for the whole thing to be ground up, because that's how we're eating it.
No,
I'm gonna try it.
I still want ribeyes, so that's not going to happen.
Hey, I want to go back to something you're talking about. You said on the second time you went back to cut weight to do a jiu-jitsu tournament, it just wasn't happening, and you're just having trouble. And were you having the same approach? Were you doing something different? Do you know why you were having a hard time?
Yeah, I know I was having a hard time. I just wasn't committed the way I was prior. I mean, I was still doing the program, but like I said, I've once you create a habit, you need to stick with that habit, and I didn't stick with it the second time through. I wasn't religiously weighing my food. I wasn't religiously taking my weight, and I was eating candy bars. I was, this is how bad my addiction is when it comes to sugar and candy bars. When we would be missing something at the house, and Robyn would say, "Hey, I need you to go to Walmart or go down to Kroger or whatever and get it, go to the grocery store and pick something up." Shit, I was hitting the door and I was flying down the road, because what was I going to do? Is I was going to buy some candy bars, sit there in the parking lot after I bought everything, and eat them before I got to the house. And I would make a point of leaving coffee in my coffee mug in my car. That way I could wash it down and cover my breath.
Hmm.
That's how bad my sugar addiction is.
Well,
And
I mean that's a textbook real addiction.
Absolutely. So, I was doing shit like that the second time that I was trying to cut weight. So, can I blame it on the program? No, I can blame it on myself. And that's the other thing. That's the thing. I cannot give myself grace. I cannot forgive myself for that stuff. Because if I give myself grace and forgive myself, that just goes down the road of you're going to F up and just continue to do the things you shouldn't do. You have to man up. You have to put your big boy pants on and take charge of it. And if you're not going to do that, then you're not ready. You have not hit rock bottom yet then.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think we've had the conversation, and I've said a lot too, is I think a key to this too is you just got to be honest with who you are and yourself, because the more you can decode it, no pun intended, the more you just set yourself up for failure, and you always find loopholes, you always find excuses, and you'll never be successful because you're just kind of gaming the system the whole entire time, and then truth comes out, and you will fail.
Right.
And it totally hurts my heart. I mean, you've told me this, so it wasn't a shock to me this time, but it totally hurts my heart to know that that's what was going on. Like, it was such a dark place for you. Your mom even said you come by it honestly, because I know that she has struggled with very similar issues. And it's just heartbreaking. You're not alone in that. And at the same time, it is a very lonely place to be, hiding in your car, stuffing candy bars in your mouth.
Well, let me say this. This is not my mom's fault, and I don't want her to so mom, you do not take responsibility for this. This is not your fault. Don't ever feel like it is.
That's I've had the same conversation before. I know how you feel, man.
She's probably crying right now and unable to type an answer too. So go ahead, Scott.
uh, so back to the Robert Sykes thing. When you started I mean, you're doing carnivore, you're doing NSNG, but you're taking practices and ideas from Robert Sykes. Was there a learning curve? Was there any hangups with it? What was there anything that you would say you had to tweak the most, or what did you have to tweak the most?
Uh, the very beginning is actually is that hurdle that I had to get over. Like phase one of his program is learning what your baseline calorie should be for your age, your sex, um, your activity level, and what else? Your body fat percentage. So what there's a bunch of calculations going in. Don't have time to do that, but he's actually on his website has a macro calculator on there that if you estimate your body fat content, you can do that and do your calorie count. That was the biggest like hurdle for me, was seeing the number of calories that I should be getting every single day, and realizing that, my God, there's no way that I can put down 3,100 calories a day. That is way too much food for me. That I can't do that. Um, I'll tell you this. Like I said, I just started the program again not long ago. I was not eating 3,300 or 3,100 calories a day. Um, Before I started. I've started eating 3,100 calories a day, and I have not gained weight. In fact, I've lost weight. So that is that's the biggest part, getting out of this diet mentality, that you got to start thinking about the calorie in, calorie out. Is this a good calorie? Is this a bad calorie? Get all that out of your head. And you don't need to get to this point where you're like, oh my God, I can't eat. Like, for I know there's people out there that are um, bigger than me that eat less than me, and they're concerned about how much they're eating. You really need to take a look at how much you're eating and check to see if you are getting the right amount of good nutritional calories in your system. Because if you are working out hard or you're doing everything you can to lose weight, and part of that is being on the treadmill for 30 minutes and then lifting weights and things like that, and you're not eating enough, your body is shutting down your metabolism. It's lowering it because it's saying, whoa, I'm not getting the right amount of energy to take care of this. So let me downgrade this a little bit and store some of the stuff for later because I'm actually going into a starvation mode. So you need to give your body what it needs. So I would advise anybody to double check to see what kind of calorie count they're supposed to have. Now his program does go in later on, and you are going to start cutting some of your macros. You got to change that stuff up, which will naturally lower your calorie count. But I used to be of the frame of mind that calories don't matter. You gotta eat till you're satiated and stuff like that. But I'm going to tell you right now, calories do matter. I'm not a big proponent of calorie in, calorie out, but having the right calories in your body, it does matter.
It's kind of like earlier back in the day, calorie in, calorie out is what we were always taught. But this is calorie in, calorie out in a much different way.
Exactly.
It's not what we were taught back in the day. It's a whole entire
No.
different approach on it. So with that, Robyn, I think we are kind of about out of time.
It does appear that way. That went by very quickly. So we always end our show with the same question of every person, and I'm not sure if you thought about that because we actually didn't talk about it. But if you had one piece of advice to give someone who is just starting to navigate their health journey, what would it be?
So I'm going to give you two things. One's the advice and one's a little bit of a story. Okay. So first, here's the advice. Be selfish. Take care of yourself. Be your best advocate. Nobody's going to do this for you. You got to do it for yourself. All right. So that's one. If you got a doctor that's telling you this and that, fine. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to give you medical advice, but do your research. And if you have an old school doctor that's telling you things that you don't necessarily agree with, it's time to find a new doctor. And it's time to find one that's going to work with you because you are your best advocate. They work for you. You don't work for them. That's first off. So I'm going to tell you a little story, and it's kind of it's a martial arts story, and it kind of ties into where I've gotten to where I'm at. So this young kid, when he was little, was in a severe car accident and lost his left arm, and his parents decided to put him in judo when he turned 10 years old. And you can look the story up. It's called the one-armed judoka. So put him in judo when he's 10 years old. He's one-armed, and the sensei looks at him, and the parents ask him, hey, can you teach him judo? And he says, absolutely. I can teach anybody judo. So he starts training this kid in judo, and the kid realizes that the sensei is only showing him one move. He's not doing all the rest. And there's literally hundreds of moves in judo. There's hundreds of sweeps. There's hundreds of hip throws. There's shoulder throws. You name it. There's tons of them. But this kid's only learning one. So after a couple years, the sensei decides to put the kid in a tournament. And the kid's terrified. You're putting me in a tournament, and I only know one move. But he puts him in this tournament, and the kid has 3 matches. So the first match comes up. The kid's extremely nervous. The other child starts coming at him, and this kid does that one move and throws the kid on the ground. You're like, wow, I just accomplished that. I've got one arm. So he goes to the next match, and the other kid comes at him and snaps that move off and flips the kid. He's like, wow, I did it again. Now he's going into the championship round. And he looks across and he sees this gargantuan child. This kid that's twice his size, has both his arms, and is a higher belt than him. The match starts. That big child just starts coming straight at him. All he does is close his eyes, opens them back up, and does that one move and throws the kid onto the ground and wins the whole tournament. He walks up to his sensei and he says, I don't know how I just did what I did. I only know one move. You wouldn't show me anything else. And the sensei looked at him and he said, I showed you the hardest move that is only defended by grabbing your opponent's left arm. So don't look at your deficiencies as a negative. Use them as your motivator to start your consistency and your dedication to move on, to have a better life. So that's my story, and that's my advice.
And it's awesome. Love that.
Yeah, cool. So you're gonna make me tear up at the end and not like during the beginning when I can clean myself up before coming back on camera. Thanks. That's how you roll. I get it. But that was amazing. I've never heard you tell that story before. So that was awesome. So thank you. And thank you for joining us tonight. I think everyone enjoyed it who was on here with us. And to everyone who joined us live, we really appreciate you being here and being part of the conversation with us. You make this little pet project worthwhile for us. I think I speak for Scott as well when I say that. So we appreciate all of you. And Matt, we certainly appreciate you for coming on and sharing your story. Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I am obviously I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I don't know what my Instagram handle is. I think it's matt.dobbins.31. And then my my Twitter or X is goodness, at mattdobbins5. So I'm all original with just having a random number thrown on the end of my name.
5 is my lucky number, so that must be what it's
Well,
all about.
We'll roll with that then.
Roll with that. Okay. Well, and you know, we're learning, Matt and I are, and I guess Scott is now too, learning a lot more about this program with Robert Sykes. If anybody's curious about it, we're really like loving how this works because I think we all like to eat. And the program encourages eating. So if anybody has any questions about that, feel free to reach out to any one of us. I will put Matt's information in the notes probably tomorrow when I'm able to. Scott and I both have our LinkedIns already at the top of the YouTube channel. So you know where to find us. Please reach out to us if you have any questions about anything. Again, Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you again, everyone, for being with us, and we will see you next time.